Hey guys, this is Ashley. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm doing 3 looks using the Natasha Denona Glam palette. But I would just like to say, if you are new here, welcome to my channel, and if you're an oldie but goodie, welcome back to my channel. And my name is Ashley, and I have a doctorate in pharmacy, and I love makeup, and that's why we are here. So that's how you get Dr. Ash in our makeup, but please just call me Ashley or Ash. So like I said, I have 3 looks today for you using the Natasha Denona Glam palette, and this is the newest addition to her palette series. This baby just launched. Actually, it has a couple different launches, so it's still kind of launching. It actually launched as a Sephora app on September 2nd, and now it is actually on Sephora online, and today is September 4th, and then it will be in Sephora stores on September 14th, and actually on Beautylish on September 16th. So you'll be able to pick it up for whatever retailer that you prefer. But I decided to, like I said, pick it up from the Sephora app, and that's how I have it so quickly, because I do have the flash shipping with Sephora because, you know, I'm rude. What can I say? Now, this palette retails for $65, which is the new going rate of her palettes, which I really do enjoy. That she gives us these palettes where it's more condensed, you get less shadow, but you get the same great quality, but at a lesser price point, because, you know, her palettes were running $129, and although $65 is still really expensive, you know, it's a lot easier to stomach. But like I mentioned before, this palette does cost $65, but I didn't pay anything for it because I actually decided to use my Sephora point perks to pick up this particular palette. So as you may or may not know, this started maybe about 2 years ago. When you're rude, if you have 2,500 points, you can redeem it to get a $100 gift card to spend inside the store. So I had one, and I was just kind of trying to figure out what I wanted. And I actually wanted to get Natasha Denona Biba palette because that particular palette is $129, and I was like, I'm not going to spend that. But the thing that I actually really liked about the Biba palette were the cool tone shadows. So let me open it up. The Glam palette is all cool tone shadows. So if you're actually just wondering about how that gift card works, like I said before, if you have 2,500 points, you can redeem it for the $100 gift card. The rewards drop down in the rewards bazaar on the Sephora website or the app, whatever you're using, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it's usually about 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which for me is about 11 o'clock, but it really doesn't drop until like 9:10, 9:15. You just got to be on it and kind of refresh your screen, which can be a little annoying because once they are kind of out of that particular point perk for the day, it's gone, and then you have to wait for the next day for that to refresh. So I decided to use my $100 point perk on this, and when you use that, it's non-refundable. So I'm stuck with this palette regardless if I like it or don't like it, but good thing I do like it, as you guys will see later on. So this palette contains, let's see, we got 15 shades, okay? And all the shades are actually metallic shades. We have one crystal shade, which is right here, and it's called Inner Corner, and I'll explain that in a moment. And we have 5 mattes, and the rest of the metallics, like I said, and the mattes are actually the creamy mattes. Now, the names are actually kind of hilarious to me, and one of my lovely subscribers pointed out to me because she sent it to me, and I was catching up on like the little news and looking at the tags. I was like in the drive-thru trying to get some McDonald's and eat real quick before I go to the dentist because I was like, I'm not going to be able to eat when I leave there, and I really need to eat something. And she was like, Ashley, look at the names. And I was like, oh. So this literally is like makeup for beginners, makeup for dummies. I'm not calling anybody a dummy. I'm just saying. But the names are literally like Center Eyelid, Outer Eyelid, Inner Corner, Crease, Transition, Smoke, Blend, Lash Line, Inner Corner again, Center Eyelid again, Outer Eyelid, Center Eyelid again, Outer Eyelid again, and Brow Bone. So literally some of the shades have the same name, and it walks you through of how to do your look, because it's going to say, hey, put this in the transition. Hey, put this on the lash line. Put this particular shimmer in the center. So you can follow that pattern, or you could just do whatever you want because there are no rules to makeup. So this is what the actual carton of the palette looks like. Once you open the palette, it is good for 24 months. The products are recyclable. The palette is paraben free. It's not tested on animals. And of course, you should keep this out of reach of children. Now, as far as the stability of the palette, you know, if you keep your makeup in a cool, dry place, it will be okay. You don't have to worry about it going bad, especially because there are no cream formula in this particular palette. You should be fine. Just keep it in a cool, dry area. Now, what I also do like about this packaging, but I have not taken advantage of, if you see these little holes right here, you could pop a pin and you could depot these shadows so you can create your own looks, rearrange your palette, or mix it with some other Natasha Denona shadows and just really go to town. So I really, really adore this packaging. It's so sturdy. It's pretty. The only thing I don't like is the fingerprints, but I just really like the color of it. I like how you have it's sturdy, like I said before. You get a nice mirror and it just gives it a nice quality feel. I did really like the leather packaging, but I do appreciate this very much. So I'm going to do some swatches for you. And like I said, I have 3 looks and we'll talk about some final thoughts on the palette at the end of the video. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. I got my good old Sephora Pro Crease number 10 brush right here, and I just want to be funny, and since Natasha Denona decided to name the shadows Outer Lid, Crease, Transition, we're going to follow one of those patterns for this first look. Eyebrows are filled in using my Goof Proof brow pencil in the shade 3.75, and my eyelid is primed using my Too Faced concealer Born This Way. But I still don't know why it's so dirty. I really don't. One day I'll fix that. So going in with the number 10 brush, let's see, I'm going to go in with this particular shade right here that says Crease, and we're going to take that first. It's like a nice taupey color, and we're just going to blend this out in the crease. Ooh, I like the shade of it. It's taupey. It has a little smoke to it. It's a little gray. Yeah. Okay, so I'm super warm tone. I'm a super warm tone type of girl, but I do love a good cool tone, and I love cool tones that are like gray base. So when I saw this palette, I was like, oh man, this is really gonna be pretty. And you know, back in the day when I first started doing my makeup, you know, cool tones were the ish. You know, I used to wear like what was it, Velvet Taupe or something Taupe by MAC all the time. Is that the name? I gotta get that name together. And I used to wear like the pigment vanilla on the lid all the time. So, you know, but this shade is building up nice. It's nice and smooth. No problem with blending that. So, I am digging that. So nice. So this is what the first shade is looking like. And I'm gonna dip back in just another go around just to build it up to the intensity that I want it to be at. So same number 10 brush, I wiped it off, and my my little makeup towel, I'm gonna go in with the shade called Smoke right here. And it's not a lot of mattes in this palette, so there are only 5 mattes and the rest are shimmers. So this is gonna be a good palette for people who like to just kind of do the same crease and then put a different, you know, shimmer shade on and call it a wrap. So this is the shade Smoke. It's a little bit deeper, more brown base, and I'm liking this. And I'm just gonna kind of start blending this in some circular motions and blending that out. And then a little bit over at the same time. And so far the colors are really smooth. And I'm just kind of doing small circular, well actually these are big circular motions. To be honest, let's see. Sonia G, Builder Pro, I'm going to take this shade down at the bottom that is called Outer Eyelid. There are a few shades that have the same name, so just going to kind of point it out so you know which ones I am talking about. And this is more of a slate gray. Ooh, gunmetal, that's nice. And I'm just going to pack that on the outer eye like she said to do. This is like eyeshadow for beginners, eyeshadow for dummies. Like, you can't mess it up. Get that brush off, go in the shade right next to it that's called Center Eyelid. And I'm just going to pop that in the center. And that is a nice, it reminds me of my MAC Vanilla Pigment. I'm like, what? My MAC Vanilla what? And I'm just popping that in the center. Boom. Sonia G flat definer brush, going to take this particular shade that says inner corner at the top. And this one looks like it's to be a little bit more of a crystallized formula. Let me see. I think she has the character rates, or I think, yeah, she has the actual formulations of the shadows on the back. So this one is a K. So the K is, I want to say, the crystallized formula. And I'm just going to, yep, pop that in the center. You can tell it's pretty crystal. Yep. And that is pretty. Voila. Well, that brings great light to the eye. And I'm just gonna wipe that brush off. Then she has one of the deepest shades in the palette. It's called Lash Line. So that is this right here. I'm gonna take this on the lash line. And I'm just gonna run this right here. I really like the tone of this color because it's a really nice gray. And I kind of dig that it's not a black in this palette. We don't always need blacks. Alright, so that is look number 1. I'm back in saying Sephora Pro number 10. Eyelid is reprime using that same concealer. I am going to go in with this shade right here that is called Blend. And I'm just going to basically run this in my transition area. I'm just buffing it out, kind of in some circular motions. Same Sephora Pro number 10 brush. You're going to take the shade Smoke right here, and I'm going to put that in the crease. And this shade does bring some of the smoke. Ooh. And there it goes. There, yeah. So if you pick up a lot, there you go. And I'm just gonna blend that out back and forth. I didn't even realize I picked up that much shadow. All right, I turned down my light because it was so bright, and I was like, feel like you couldn't really see what was going on with the colors. I was taking some photos so I could put them on Instagram, and I had the light turned up a little bit too high, not to mention it was blinding you, girl. So that is the shade Smoke blended out. Now with the shade Outer Eyelid, this one is a more of a bronzy brown shade, and a deeper brown. I'm going to pack this into the outer V, and I'm kind of going to bring this shade a little bit higher up. So there will be a little bit more shimmer in our crease with this particular shade. And I'm just patting that on. So this one's a little bit deeper. I'm sure once you wet it, you can get a little bit more shine. But for right here in the crease, I like how it is. But I will wet it just in a second so you can see, or we can see rather, if it has any more, a little more pop to it. And I did kind of bring that more into the center of that eyelid. I'm just kind of pushing it all over the eyelid, but I am leaving this part open. Taking my classic crease brush by Sonia G, I'm just going to kind of blend that out. And I like the satin of the shade. This particular shade that is outer corner is a metallic. This is a very pretty metallic. So that is outer corner. And you can use this to actually provide more depth to your look if you don't want to use like lash line, or you don't want to use the shade Smoke, or you want to layer it together. All Nighter setting spray. I'm going to take that and spritz my brush, and I have a little bit of the shadow on there. And let's see if we can make this shade pop just a little bit more. I'm like, is that the side I put the, okay, so not really. It's just a different texture shadow, so you're not gonna get much more pop or pizzazz, or it's not gonna be like a high foil metallic, just know that. But it feels really nice. To me, this particular metallic feels more like what we equate the satin formula or satin metallic formula of Papograph feels like. But this is a really nice metallic, and it's very smooth. It's just not one that's like high impact shine, if that makes sense. Brush, wiped it off, going in with center of the lid. This is a more gold color. This is a metallic also, and we're just going to pop this in right here in this part of the lid. And I'm just kind of blending. It's all like one look. It's nothing so structured. I'm just kind of placing this in the lid. And the brush was just a tiny bit more wet, and this is definitely a more cool tone gold. And I will just kind of blend that part up into the crease, and I will go back and forth and make sure two are blended out. So yeah, this particular metallic right here is a little bit more high shine. And going back in with that outer lid shade, which was the brown particular one. Like the Finer Brush by Sonia G, I'm going to go in with this center of the eye. What is the center of the eye? Yeah, it is. Let's see. Well, we're going to put it in our, we're going to pop this in our inner corner. Let's see. And then this particular shade is a metallic also. Yeah. So, and it looks nice. It blends in nicely with these golds and bronzes. All right, so that is the lash line. That is the look filled up. And just to keep it consistent, because we have something on the lash line here, I am just gonna go in with that shade Lash Line and run it. So I'm gonna do my face makeup and my lashes and liner. I'll be right. All right, I am back, and I found me some earrings, and I paired this look with a bright red lip, because when I do cooler tone looks, especially like silvers and grays and taupes, I really like to go in with a bright red lip. So I chose to do the shade Uncensored by Fenty Beauty, and the rest of my face details I will link down below. And I think that both of the looks came out really gorgeous. I'm definitely a fan of this look. I think it's really, really pretty. It's silvery, it's taupey. It has just a very small hint of gold with that center eyelid shade right here that's called center eyelid at the same time. And then here you have a more muted bronzy gold right here, and I really like the shade outer lid corner. That's that brown taupe or that brown satin bronze shade, because it just adds it just adds a different level of dimension to the look, and it's something that you can use to deepen the outer corner where you don't have to worry about it being too shiny in the crease, because some people don't want a lot of sparkle in the crease, because if you have a lot of lines right here, or if you have like a hooded situation like me, it doesn't really work out too well. But this is the right type of texture to have in the crease. So I feel like both of these looks came out really, really gorgeous, and the shadows applied very well. No problem with any of how they apply. I will say, if you were looking for something high impact out of that brown shade, you're not going to really get it from this particular palette. But let's go ahead and jump into the third. All right, I'm back for the final look. Eyelids are reprimed, going in Sephora Pro number 10. Going to take the shade Smoke, which was that deeper brown shade, and we're going to blend this in the crease. I'm just going to go back and forth, windshield wiper motions. And I picked up a big chunk of shadow right there, so we're just going to blend it out, but that's fine. And I'm just blending this out all along the crease. And I'm just going to kind of work it up. Going back in with that same shade. And I really like this shade. This shade is really pretty. It's brown with a gray base. And I'm just gonna kind of pull it out. And I'm just throwing it all in the crease and the transition area. All right, now that we have smoke blended all out in the crease and the transition area, I'm gonna go in with this shade. This is the one matte we have not used, and it's a pretty light bone matte, and it's called Transition. So I'm going to pick it up just ever so lightly, and I'm going to actually put in the transition. Oh, and it doesn't, okay, it doesn't look bad. And I think that this shade will also look bomb on the lid. Like, you know, deeper crease, and this on the lid as an all matte look. And I'm just using this to kind of soften up that first shade that we laid down, which was Smoke. Same Sephora Pro number 10, going in with the shade Lash Line. And we're going to take this actually in the outer corner. So I'm just kind of patting it down first, and then we're going to blend out in some circular motions. And ooh, this shade is gorgeous. This shade is too pretty just to be putting on the lash line. And I'm kind of just blending this out in circular motions and kind of pulling it out at the same time. And I'm not taking it too far in. I'm just gonna kind of leave it in the outer. I am going to kind of feather it up just a little bit, but I'm going to angle it more up this way versus that way. Now, Lash Line, if you're wondering, is considered to be one of Natasha Denona's creamy matte formulas. I don't think it's any cream to powder formulations in here. Let's see. Yep, all the mattes are creamy mattes, if you're wondering. So no cream to powder, just creamy mattes. But I do enjoy the creamy mattes as well. It's a really nice formula. Right, here it is with that shade Lash Line blended out. It's really pretty. I'm just going to dip back one more time with the bone shade called Transition just to kind of soften it out, especially on this side. I got a tiny bit carried away, and I just want to soften that out just a little bit. Now, going in with this shade, which is called Outer Eyelid. I feel like this is the star of the show. I feel like this shade is so pretty. Let's see. Please focus. Thank you. So this shade is beautiful, so I don't want to waste it, so I'm just going to start patting it right here, and then I'll go back in with my Filt'r Pro by Sonia G. Oh my gosh. Do you see that? Shade freaking amazing. Yep. And I'm just going to start laying that on the center of the lid, so that is really pretty. I live for shades like this. Even though, like, I always do all these warm tones, but like when we're talking about a good cool tone shade, this right here, just whoo, does it for me. Then I'm going to take it in just a little bit into the inner corner. Shade is amazing, and I did not wet it at all. Look how foiled this shade is. All right, so that shade is laid down. It is really, really, really pretty. I just love the way this looks. It is really, really gorgeous. At the finer brush, we're going to go in with, let's see, this shade right here, this inner corner is the more silvery one. And we have not used that. We've used everything except for the one that says Brow Bone. And then this particular silver shade right here, we haven't used that one. So we've used a fair amount of shades in the palette, which is great. And I'm just gonna pop this here just to give it a little bit more intensity. And I'm gonna kind of feather it into that shade. And now taking that flat definer brush, we're gonna go back in with Lash Line, which was that deep gray, and gonna hit up the lash line. Alright, I'm back. I added on my lashes. I have on the same lashes as before. I don't know if I mentioned it, but they were the Kiss Ritzy Lashes. And I kept on the same lipstick. And like I said, I'll leave all the other face details down below. Now, let's go ahead and jump into the palette. I feel like these shadows perform so well. So beautiful, just like really any other Natasha Denona palette, to say the least. You know, her formula is really great and she has really mastered it over time. Now, this particular palette, you know, I feel like it's every day, but it's not every day at the same time. Like, you could definitely take it there like how we did right now. I love how this look turned out. This particular shade, Outer Eyelid, I feel so weird saying that, but then at the same time, I'm like, kind of here for it. It's different. The names are funny to me. I mean, everything doesn't have to always be so serious. When we're talking about eyeshadow palettes, as long as they're not like degrading, you know, then I'm okay. But I really feel like this eye look is bomb. You know, you don't have to use the shadows the way that she says it, but you can definitely use it as a guide if you need help on how to curate a look. But Natasha Denona usually curates the looks kind of for you in her palettes, whether you know it or not. She usually says you can go up and down in little quads or straight across the rows when it comes to her palettes. Now, I just love how the smokiness of these shadows, they're really great. You can lighten them up. So you can go in with Crease that's definitely like lighter, but this gray / brown tones that I really do enjoy. The shade Smoke definitely brings the smoke in a subtle way. Like, you can either, like I said, make it lighter or darker. And Lash Line just really takes it there. Like, just don't think that you have to use it on your lash line. All the shades perform so well. We used all the shades in the palette, I want to say, except for this particular shade that says Center Eyelid and this particular shade that said Brow Bone. But all the other shades we did use in some capacity. Now, like I said earlier, the only shade that is a crystal formula is this particular shade that says Inner Corner, which is the more pinky inner corner. And I like how she gives you kind of different options. Like, you have some options that are like silver. You have the center eyelid shade that's silver. You have an inner corner shade that's silver. You have one that's more pinky bronze. And then you have another one that kind of matches it for the inner corner. And the mattes are well placed. I don't feel like I needed a different matte to create a look. So if you're like a girl who just kind of likes to interchange her shimmers, this palette is really going to work for you. And like I said, it's just really no muss, no fuss. And you really can't get any of the looks go wrong. I don't see anything in this palette that you could just put on your eye and it just look a hot mess. Like, all the shades are going to complement each other and they're not going to look muddy. They're going to go together in some type of capacity. Even the one where you have this particular where it's a gold, it's still going to play well with all the silvers. So the formula is impeccable. I mean, it feels like just basically any of the Natasha Denona palettes that we have come to love as of lately. The formula is great. I think the only one that has been kind of like hit or miss is the Love palette, which I actually have right here. This one was kind of but you have a bunch of creamy mattes in here. You got 5 mattes and a plethora of shimmer shades. So I think she did a really great job, and it's well placed in her collection. You know, she needed some cool tones. We've had so many warm tones. We've had a bronze palette. We had Sunrise. We had Sunset. We had a gold palette. We got the Love with the purples. Metropolis has a gang of oranges and greens and brasses and golds. So we really did need kind of like a more cool tone palette. And people really do love the 5-pan palette version of this. I don't have it, but I know people really, really do enjoy it. So I really do like this palette. I'm glad I picked it up. I did, like I said, say before, I picked this particular palette up with my Sephora $100 point perk card that I had. So I'm glad that I did use this. And I used something that I knew that was like, it was going to be nice. Like, I was going to want to spend my money on, but I did not have to spend my money on it, even though I did previously, you know, because you got to get the points basically to get the card. But I'm glad I got something like that was quality, that I knew it was like, oh man, like this was just a terrible palette to get. And because with those particular gift cards, you can't return the items. So overall, I really do like this palette. But like, if this palette is just not in your price point because, you know, maybe you just don't want to pay $65 or you can't afford the palette, I do have a couple other options. So this is the Nabla Cutie palette, and this bad boy is $24, and the shadows in here are really, really great as well. And you have pretty much, you have 6 pans right here, and these palettes have great formula, great shine, and the You only have 2 mattes, but the mattes are really nice. So I feel like this one is pretty close to the to the Glam palette that we have right here, because you have like that bronzy, cooler tone shade right here that's more bronzy, and then you have the silver shades, and then you have the 2 deepener up shades right there. And then the second palette, this palette retails for $24, and you can pick it up from Ulta Beauty. This palette was actually kind of like out of stock when it first came out, so I know a lot of people have had their eyes on it and good things to say about this. Another palette that I really enjoy is the Smoke Show palette, but this palette is a little bit deeper than when we're talking about the Glam palette, but you can definitely get some similar looks with it. It's actually called the Blowing Smoke palette right now because there was some type of trademark issue with this particular name. I have the original one, but this one, you get some similar looks with it too, when you talk about some of the grays and similar, but this one is a lot deeper because you have blacks and you have dark grays. And so that also just comes to another point. I just really like in the Glam palette that you don't have like a black. You can definitely bring in the smoke with the lash line without using a black. At this point, we have so many blacks in our palette, I don't think we need it. But you can definitely get some pretty everyday looks, especially with these shades, right? I think like this bottom row, and maybe this shade and this shade. And even here, you can get some pretty everyday staple looks. So with that being said, I really do like this palette. And of course, let me know down below in the comments which look you like the best. I like this one. This is my favorite look. And then I like number 1, and then followed by number 2. So just let me know which one that you dig. And hit the notification bell so you know when I come out with another video. And of course, give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel because you know I would love to have you here, my little makeup family. And with that being said, you already know what time it is. It's time for the chick dance. Ayy, 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 chick dance. Chick dance. Chick dance. All right, y'all. See you later. Bye.